Hello, everyone, and welcome again. The class tonight is about fat, fish, and fiber. This is a class that I love because it talks about three things that I think are very, very important while you're pregnant to really understand the nutrition and the advantages that this will bring you and the baby. So my name is Chef Dulce Jimenez. I am a wellness coach and chef, and this program is sponsored by Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies in prevention of diabetes and hypertension for at-risk pregnant women here in Broward County. And I am super excited, and I'm very, very passionate about this topic because myself, I am a mom and I am a grandmother, and I know how important it is to have a good nutrition when you're pregnant. So without further ado, let's start. So let's start with fat. And ladies, I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to respond. You can do it through the chat. You can open your microphone, but what do you think? Are all fat bad? Here we have a few examples. We have salmon and flaxseed and nuts and avocado. Here we have a juicy burger with cheese and bacon and beef. Here we have cold cuts and cheeses and donuts and French fries and some brownies. And here we have a bunch of oils. So
hello. I don't think all fats are bad. I know like avocado helps to lower the high cholesterol. So if you like to eat lobster and shrimp when you get high cholesterol, you can counteract it with like avocados, which is a healthy fat. I think they said it's a triglyceride fat, which is hard to break down. That is not so good like the trans fat. I think it is.
yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Camille. Thank you for your contribution. Yes, exactly. You know, on the contrary, fat is actually an essential nutrient. And we saw it in the class this afternoon. Fat is an essential nutrient and is a macronutrient. That means that we need fat as we need protein and carbohydrates. So not all fat are created equal. Although fat is good for you, not all of them are good for you. So which is the best fat? And if you can answer in the chat, that will be great, but I will tell you quickly that is the monounsaturated fat. The trans fat is a man-made and is usually what you find in all packaged goods. Remember, I have said before, packaged food is a product. It's not really a food for you. It's a product that a company wants to sell you. So saturated fat, we need it as well. And those include olive oil and coconut oil. So the best fat is the monounsaturated fat, and I'm going to explain to you why. So before I continue, so as I said, fat is part of the 6 vital nutrients. I always show this for you guys because this is a priority. You want to have a balance of nutrients. During pregnancy, you need complex carbohydrates, you need fat, you need proteins, animals or vegan, you need minerals and vitamins, and you need water. Super important. When you're pregnant, you need double amount of water because your body will, need double amount of liquids and fluids. So water is very important, but fat is number 2. If you see, this is in the order of importance. And we had that crisis when we started saying that fats are bad and we put everything low fat. However, there's the other spectrum, right? Now, if you say fats are great and I'm going to start eating bacon because fats are good for you, is that the best fat for you? No, not necessarily. Actually, not. So fats are important because they're necessary building blocks for brain and the nervous system, and they're valuable source of energy. The fat aids you in absorbing vitamins as A, D, E, and K. And again, we talk about this. It's very important to know what are the fats that are good for you. So the monounsaturated fats are oils that are the healthiest because they stay in liquid form, in and out of your body, like hazelnut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, peanut oil, right? When you see fats that are hardened, for example, coconut oil get hardened. So coconut oil, although it's from plants, it should be consumed in even more in moderation than any other oils that are in liquid form. So you see how the butter is, or lard. You see that is thick, and that same conditions that you see it outside of your body will stay in your body and will cover your arteries. So that's why when you have a high fat diet from animal product, that is mostly saturated fat. Well, canola oil also, but canola oil is being now sold so much that there's a lot of debate about the quality of the canola oil. They're making some canola oil not as good as before because now everybody is changing to canola oil instead of corn oil. When I was growing up, what we used was corn oil, but it was not as today. So mostly is genetically modified canola oil or corn oil, right? So we don't know still the result in your body or what impact can that create in your body. So that's why I recommend avocado oil, olive oil, some coconut oil, and eat the foods that will give you the fats that you need. We were going to talk about it. And that's not a bacon. That doesn't include bacon, unfortunately. So it's super important to control the portion of your fat. And I have some very good graphics here because all foods has fat. We don't need much or to add extra. And this is a big difference. You see the size of this? This is like a little lid of a bottle. This is kind of the size of oil that you should be consuming a day. Add. So instead of putting oil in a pan to cook, you should be putting water or chicken stock or vegetable stock. Or I have a cousin that she gets chicken legs and or chicken wings and steam them, and she steamed them with garlic and onions, and she boiled it. Then she strained it. She leave it in the refrigerator overnight. She takes that fat that accumulates. You will see the yellow fat that becomes solid on top of the broth. She takes all that up, and then she put that liquid in ice cubes, and she used those ice cubes to cook instead of oil. And what I do for my clients and for my own cooking is I add water or vegetable stock or vegetable broth instead of adding oils. because we already have oils in our foods. So let me show you from a different perspective. This is 400 calories of oil. This is 400 calories of chicken. And this is 400 calories of vegetables. You know how much vegetables you need to eat to get 400 calories, and you will be full and you will feel better because you will get fiber, nutrients, vitamins, minerals, proteins, carbs from all this. But if you're eating fat, just fat, this is what you're getting. It's not going to make you feel as full and full as this. And we're going to talk about fiber in a little bit. Okay. So yes, olive oil is good as well, but again, in moderation. Even olive oil should be in moderation. I actually just use olive oil mostly raw to put in my salads or in my dressing. So fat is contains fat is also essential in terms of the fatty acid, omega-3 fatty acids that you find in the fat in the salmon and the seafood and certain foods. Fat is important for the rapid brain growth in utero of your baby and also affects baby's vision. And you should consume wild salmon, flax oil, and an omega-3 supplements to be able to get the 600 milligrams per day that you need, right? And it should be DHA. When you look at your prenatals, you should make sure you have this type of omega-3 fatty acids. Okay. So cholesterol is a type of fat, right? And it's a fat that has bad reputation. But in reality, what it is, so cholesterol is very important fatty compound that is made in the liver. Your body produces it. And also is also found in some foods. It is a major constituent of the cell membrane, and it is necessary for the formation of hormones like testosterone, estrogen, and vitamin D, as well as other important compounds in the body. So that's why we have the bad cholesterol and the good cholesterol and the combination of both. When you do the test, you should be testing all cholesterol. When you are pregnant, you're going to need the cholesterol for the baby's growing brain, to building blocks for pregnancy hormones. And it is from saturated fat and will slightly increase when you're pregnant. That's why you have to be very careful with eating saturated fat when you're pregnant, because you're already going to have a little bit high cholesterol. Okay, so here's for those of you asking me questions, this is my recommendation. Give yourself an oil change. Use plant oils. If you're using butter and lard and other stuff as oils, start changing it to plant oils. Use oils sparingly and in small quantities. We already saw the amounts. Use oil according to cooking method. For example, I am not going to stir fry with olive oil. Olive oil should not be heated too high. Actually, not all the oils should be heating. You should not be frying oils and putting oils in extreme heat, because what happens is that it creates this process in the oil, becomes rancid. And even though you don't taste it, it is not good for your body. So use oils that will stay liquid in and outside of the body, and use whole and real foods that will provide you with the fats that your body needs. So some foods will provide you the fats that you need, and you don't even have to add them into your food. Make sense? Okay. So let's talk about fish and seafood, and especially consumption of this during pregnancy. Any question about fats? Please put it in the chat and I will answer it for you. So let's go to the next topic. So there's some of the questions that you guys asked me, you know, should I be worried if I eat my favorite seafood? Is it, you know, is really fish good for me and the baby? And, you know, what is the best seafood and how much I can eat? So I'm going to try to answer these questions through the short presentation of the fish part. But if I did not answer your question, please feel free to write the question in the chat. Okay, so yes, fish and seafood is a great source of nutrients and it provides you protein, zinc, iron, and the omega-3 fatty acid that we already talked about, how important for the brain and the vision of your baby. So yes, all of these 4 nutrients are crucial for the baby's organs, growth, and development. So yes, it is good for you. However, what are the main concerns? The main concerns are 2. Mercury contamination and bacteria contamination. Mercury is a substance that accumulates in the bloodstream over time and could damage your baby's developing and nervous system if you consume a lot of it. Seafood is very susceptible to bacteria and it will be transferred to consumer. So if there is a bacteria in your seafood, you more than likely will get it as well. So those are the main concern when you eating seafood. And that's reasonable. Some women, that's why some women decide not to consume it. Okay, but I'm gonna teach you the rules and I call it L.E.A.R.N. These are the rules to consume fish and seafood safely while you're pregnant. Limit the consumption to 8 ounces a week and up to 12 ounces, right? But 8 ounces will be the safest amount. Eat fish and seafood with the highest content of nutrients. A is for avoid large, old predatory fish. R is for roast, bake, pan-sear, or fry it, but never ever eat raw or undercooked fish or seafood. Not wild, do not purchase. And we're gonna go through this more in details. But this is something that I want you to remember when you're buying and cooking and eating your seafood and fish while you're pregnant. And actually, even after, because this is good measures for everybody. Because if you get a bacteria, even though you're not pregnant, it's going to be also harmful for you. Okay? So L.E.A.R.N is the rules, acronym, so you remember. So limit the consumption. Eating less amount will minimize the risks while you can still enjoy the food that you like, right? Limit the consumption to 8 ounces per week and up to 12 ounces, 340 grams. You can divide the servings through the week to servings of 4 ounces or 3 servings of 3.5 ounces each. So make it very small portions so you can enjoy it through the week and in different preparations. Okay, this is a website that you can check for any update on seafood. You always have to be alert of any advisories. Okay, eat fish and seafood with the highest content of nutrients. So why is that? Because since there is a small risk when eating seafood, you should ensure that you're getting the ones that provides you with the most nutritional value. Okay, so The most important nutrient that fish will supply is omega-3 fatty acid, which is an essential fatty acid in the form of DHA. Eat the seafood that provides you with the highest content of omega-3 fatty acid, because this is the nutrient that can promote the baby's brain and vision development. That is the answer to your question, Tameka. Okay. And choose fish and seafood that, besides the omega-3, also offer other nutrients that might be supplied depending on the fish or seafood. That's why I said, when you buy, I'm going to give you some options here, but when you buy in your fish, educate yourself. There's some websites that I'm going to also give you that you can go and educate yourself. Okay. So fish and seafood with the highest content of nutrients and the lowest in mercury are sardines, herring, and salmon. Okay. So sardines are wild and cheap. They're highest in omega-3, lowest in mercury. They have calcium and vitamin D. Herring is high in omega-3, vitamin A, D, and B12, which is very needed, and potassium. Salmon is a high quality protein when it's wild, ladies, when it's wild. Omega-3 is also high in salmon. It has potassium, it has vitamin D, vitamin 12, and vitamin B5. So those are the threes with the highest content of nutrient. Then they're followed by anchovies, cod, and shrimp. Okay. You can take pictures of this if you want, but you know, this class is recorded and you will get a handout. Okay, so what other sources of omega-3 fatty acid can you find in the food? If you prefer to avoid seafood altogether, which is okay, there are other sources of omega-3 fatty acids, which includes foods that has flaxseed. You can add your flaxseed, ground flaxseed or oil. Canola oil, walnut, sunflower seed, and soybeans like edamame are also good source of omega-3 fatty acid. But canola oil, sunflower oils, and walnut oil seeds, they should be organic and well-produced. Fortified foods like yogurt, milk, and eggs can be fortified with omega-3 fatty acids. You can look at the label and buy products that has been fortified with it. Supplements typically contain fish oil or omega-3 fatty acids from marine plant sources. Many prenatal vitamins also contain DHA. Pregnant women generally require 60 milligrams per day. Talk to your doctor before taking any supplement. You should be, confirm this with your doctor, because maybe your prenatal already has it, whatever he prescribed or she prescribed. Okay, any questions? You can put it in the chat. So Tameka, that was the answer as well. So you got that answered. Okay, avoid large predatory fish. Large, old, and predatory fishes are high in mercury. They will consume more fishes, stay longer in water, hence more mercury contamination. Those are shark, swordfish, king mackerel, talfish, and tuna. Yes, tuna. That's why a lot of people say not to consume tuna. So the bigger the fish, the higher in mercury content. And here's a food. You go to seafoodwatch.org so you can check for updates and look at what are the best fishes. They have a lot of resources there. Okay. And cook seafood properly. Roast, bake, pan, sear, or fry, but never eat raw or undercooked fish. Undercooked fish or seafood. Most seafood should be cooked to an internal temperature of 145 degrees. You should have a thermometer to make very sure that you're eating the fish that is done. Fish is done when it separates into flakes and appears opaque throughout. You take a fork and open it and make sure it looks cooked, opaque, not, you know, like transparent and translucent. That means that it's still raw. Cook shrimp and lobster until the flesh is sparely and opaque. Cook clams, mussels, and oysters until their shells open. Discard any that don't open. Do not eat uncooked fish and shellfish to avoid harmful bacteria or viruses. Do not eat seafood or fish, including oysters, sushi, sashimi, and refrigerated uncooked seafood labeled like Nova style, lox, kipper, smoke, or jerky. All those terms means that it's uncooked. Keep fish always refrigerated. When you go and buy your fish, ask them for ice. At least in Whole Foods, when you buy the food, they give you a bag of ice and you put the ice with the fish in a small bag. When you go buy food, take a small cooler. I always carry a small cooler when I put my water and my snack. So get that and bring your food safely. After purchasing fresh fish, cook it immediately because some stores will already defrost them. And once you defrost a fish, you should not freeze it again. If they said previously frozen, that means that you should eat it right away the same day. After you cook it, you should consume it immediately and within 2 days. Do not eat leftover seafood with more than 3 days in the fridge. When in doubt, throw it out. Don't eat it. Don't expose your baby and your body to any harmful bacteria. Okay, so let's talk about, yes. Natalie, I don't understand your question. Okay, if you don't consume it the same day, you cook it and you can eat it within 2 days. Okay, so, okay. So let's talk about farm versus wild caught fish. My recommendation, ladies, this is my recommendation. If it's not wild, do not purchase. I know Walmart sells very inexpensive seafood. Inexpensive for me, sometimes and many times, it's not worth it. Okay? So there are implications of the high demand seafood industry that raises concerns about farm safety and sustainability. Wild commercial fisheries harvest wild creatures from natural habitat. That means that they're wild. They're eating what they have to be eating in nature, right? What nature intends them to be eating. They roam free in their waters versus farm fish farming, which is a controlled, contained process, and it is soaring demand, yields rather uncontrolled consequences because they need to sell a lot of fish. We are consuming a lot of fish lately, or in the past years, right? It has increased. So what happened is that in the farms of fish, you know, imagine is a pond, that man-made pond full of fishes that they're farming. Their waste product and feces and uneaten food, pesticides, veterinary drugs, and dead fish contaminates the surrounding water and affect the entire aquatic ecosystem of those fishes that are living there in that pond or farm. You know, they created that name too, but that is a pond of not great things happening there. The proliferation of bacterial, viral and fungal diseases, as well as sea lice that is spread from farm to fresh fishes. And the resources that are required to fed, breed, and farm fish outweigh the product value. What I'm saying is that when these people have these farms, they have a lot of expenses and a lot of resources that they need to breed and farm these fishes. And that's why they have to compromise in some and cut corners to be able to sell it and to be able to be profitable. So, and this is also farm fish is devastating coastal habitats and ecosystems. However, after saying this, there are a few companies that are doing farm fish sustainable. You can look it on YouTube, you can research it on the web. They're very far and between. Whole Foods is the only store that I see have higher controls of farm. They do sell farm fish, but there are from very reputable farms. I don't buy them, but do your research. Okay, so in summary, quickly, purchasing your fish. Choose fish that are high in omega-3 and low in mercury. Avoid large fishes. Buy wild and sustainable cod. And if you're buying canned fish, select BPA-free. Understand local fish advisories. If you're buying fresh fish from local waters, you should make sure you pay attention to local advisories. Actually, if you don't see any advice or anything, you should not consume it. When in doubt, leave it out. Portion is key. No more than 12 ounces, preferably 8 ounces. Okay? Cook it and cook it properly. If you don't know how to cook it, learn how to cook it. Go to YouTube, look at videos, ask me questions. I do a lot of cooking classes with seafood. Again, ask me questions, you know, and you should cook it through. So I'm gonna go fly on this one because we don't have a lot of time. So fiber, oh my God, give me a second, guys. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about fiber. And what is fiber and why is it important? So fiber comes in 2 forms, and you need both kinds of fiber in a healthy diet to help with the digestive process. The insoluble fiber, which is the stringy part of fruits, vegetables, and the tough outer covering of grains, speed up the passage of waste products through the intestines. Not too cool to talk about that, right? But it's very important and necessary. So there's 2 types, the insoluble fiber, and the soluble fiber. This one helps mix the food with water in the intestines and makes some kind of gel that slows down the absorption of the glucose. And this is important because everything I talk to you about is to help you prevent diabetes and hypertension and to have a healthy pregnancy so you can deliver a healthy baby. So fiber is something that we do not, fiber is something that we do not pay attention because we sometimes don't even know what is fiber, right? And we may not give the importance that the fiber have in our digestive process. So understanding fiber is even more important when you're pregnant because the pregnancy hormones slow down your intestines, which means that food and waste products do not move along as quickly as usual. The result is constipation, which can leave you feeling uncomfortable and bloated. And fiber, however, can fix this problem. And sometimes we don't see it as a big problem, but it is, because it creates other situations in your body, like sluggishness, feeling sluggish, weight gain, sometimes bad breath, and other things that are less obvious than, and being constipated is already just going to the bathroom once a day, because we're supposed to go every day at least 2 to 3 times a day. So if you go to the bathroom once every other day, you're already constipated. Actually, if you go once a day and it's not big amount, you're already constipated. I know this is not a great class to record, but it's super important, because the body needs to ingest food and eliminate waste. This is the most basic process of our body. And when you have toxins inside your body, illnesses are the consequences. You need to release those toxins through the waste and the urine. So this is a very important topic. The fiber absorbs the water in your intestines and keeps it there, softening the content of the intestines and keeping bowel movements moving. Constipation is a big challenge while pregnant, and usually comes at the end of the pregnancy, which is the worst to feel constipated, right? And fiber is the fix. And then constipation brings hemorrhoids, which are not fun, all right? So not being constipated is a big goal, ladies. So you already saw that fiber is the outer of grains and seeds and nuts, and also this part of the fruits and the vegetables. And there are 30,000 edible plant species that exist. We're eating only 150 of them. Only 3 crops dominate the industry: rice, corn, and wheat. But there's other crops that we should be consuming. There's 2,500 varieties of potatoes only. And we here don't consume that. Of course, fiber and water are critical to prevent constipation. Thank you. So fruits, there are 1,000 types of bananas, 7,000 types of apples. In USA, there's 100 types of apples, 400 different species of berries. They come in a range of colors and tartness, and amazing nutrients that we should seek, adventure. Try some of those fruits out there, try some of those vegetables. What if maybe you eat it and you don't like it? Well, you try making it in a different way. Maybe in a different way you like it. Because when someone tells me that I don't like fruits and vegetables, have you tried all the fruits and vegetables that there are? There are plenty. And maybe someone gave you a green beans one time that were horrible, because I had those. And I was like, oh my God, I don't like green beans. But now that I learned how to make them, I love green beans. And I make them in different dishes. In salads, in stews, in curries, in soups, so many things. I make green beans with almonds and raisins and a really nice balsamic vinaigrette. So there's so many ways to make your vegetables and fruits better for you. I'm going to talk about some of it. So how to eat more fruits and vegetables? Place them front and center in your fridge. Have them cut up and clean, ready to eat. Cut up carrots, broccoli, sweet peppers, and other raw veggies, and keep them in sealed containers for quick snacks. And you can enjoy them with fresh tomato salsa, with hummus. We talked about hummus in the previous class, or light homemade dressings. Like you can add some mash some avocado with yogurt and put some herbs and spices and maybe garlic, and you can eat your veggies with that dip and you know, dressing, and make it more flavorful for you. Eat a salad every day, even twice a day. Stay away from commercial dressings. Greens with the deepest colors are the best, like spinach, kale, romaine, which, you know, the lettuce don't have a lot of nutrients, but the romaine has a little more. The colors and the shards are the deepest in colors. The shards come rainbow shard, a Swiss chard, red chard, and that stalk of the shards are full of nutrients and phytonutrients that our cells will appreciate. So eat fruit for breakfast. Slice a banana or berries and put it into your cereals and your oatmeal. Make chia pudding, top it with fruits, or make a whole wheat toast. Spread some almond butter or peanut butter or hazelnut butter or cashew butter. Put half of a banana on top and sprinkle with cinnamon. Maybe you put a touch of maple syrup, real maple syrup, and it becomes like a dessert. It's delicious. That's one of my favorite breakfast and snacks. Also, color and crunch makes food appealing. When you see rices and soups and meats with veggies, they look vibrant and more colorful, and you have more variety. Because when you eat, that's why junk food gives us all those things. It gives you the crunchy and the color and the spiciness. You can put all that in your food so you can enjoy it. If you're one of those people that enjoy those fire Doritos, well, make your fire vegetables. Make them taste fire for you. Add some sriracha in them. You know, quick steam your vegetables. Lightly cook will keep them fresher. I always lightly cook. I put up boiling water. I add some salt. I add some crushed garlic and some cilantro or green onions, and I let those flavor my water. Then I put the broccoli in it. I shave the broccoli stalk. I shave it, but I don't throw that away. You eat the whole broccoli. Some people said that they only cut the florets and threw away the other stuff. No, the other stuff, you peel it. With a peeler or with a knife, you cut it, and the inside is soft when you steam it or cook it. So you have that water boiling with flavor. You can even taste it. It tastes like garlic and spice herbs and salty. You put your green beans and you cook it for 2 minutes. You take it out. You cook your broccoli for 2 minutes. You take it out and you put it in paper towel. You let it cool out outside. Then you put it in containers and you have it in your fridge. You can cook with them. You can add it to your meats, your soups, your rice, or you can just eat it with hummus or the thing. But you lightly cooked, and they're not that raw, and they stay fresher longer. They don't spoil as fast. So you can dress up your veggies with a squid of lemon. Put some dry herbs, fresh herbs, feta cheese, put sesame seeds, some grated Parmesan. That will give you more flavor and appealing to eat it. Also eat fruits for desserts. Cut some fruit in a bowl, add cinnamon or nutmeg, add some honey, put some nuts in it, plain yogurt, real maple, and then you can make a sweet ending of any meal. You can add citrus juices to apples, bananas, and peaches or pears to prevent them from turning brown. And when you are storing your fruits, they should not be together with the vegetables. Bananas, particularly, and apples, they should be separated from everything. They should be in their own corner, like in timeout, because they will spoil all your other fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to give you this journaling and goal for you this week. Write down, what will I do to make sure I eat more fruits and vegetables this week? Okay? So you don't have to eat less. You just have to eat right so you can give your baby a better chance. Imagine when you're eating your healthy food, imagine your baby smiling back at you. And this kind of food that we're talking about fills your body with energy and nutrients. And your baby's going to be saying, thank you, mommy. Trust me, that's going to happen. So I hope you like the class for today, ladies. This is the end. This is here my information. Follow me on Instagram. Go to my YouTube channel. I'm going to be sending you a link with the YouTube channel where these classes are recorded. If you fall asleep during the class, you can come back and see it. And feel free to ask me any questions. I'm here every Wednesdays for you. And I love to do this. So I'm passionate about this. So don't be shy and ask me all the questions that you want. I'm going to close the recording for tonight, and we're going to have some minutes to talk, and I will continue answering your questions. Good night, ladies.